Our guest of honor, Dr. Surendra Ahirwar, Joint Secretary, Logistics and Trade, DPIIT, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, to say a few words. Dr. Ahirwar is a 1996 batch officer of the IRTS and moved to logistics in 2018. Since then, he's been associated with the launch and implementation of some of our government's flagship initiatives like the PM Gati Shakti and the National Logistics Policy. He also chaired the working group Logistics for Trade under India's G20 presidency. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Ahirwar.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ACFI, for having me here. And let me congratulate at the outset for organizing this get-together of the stakeholders, the ideologues, the leaders of the industry, and of course, the guides from the government, from civil aviation, and also the leaders, which I see sitting on the dais and also in front. I can't forget to mention Madam Vandana, who started this, kind of a missionary initiative in 2018-19, right? And then joined by Mr. Piyush later. So we have been working together and having a great experience and fortunately been witness to this great wave of optimism, dynamism, and growth, to say, whether it is about infrastructure or the services in the logistics sector. And it's a wonderful idea to be talking about the civil aviation and the ACFI being an umbrella organization who brings together just not the stakeholders, but also the idea of growing the civil aviation sector and ensuring its accelerated growth in sync with the other sectors of growth in the country. And we understand India is already a fastest growing big economy of the world, or major economy of the world, and it is on the cusp of many, right, other developments, like it's going to be, if not very soon, but definitely soon, third largest economy, then also, if not the sole hub of the global supply chain, but definitely one of the major hub of the global supply chain as well. And with this optimism, we are definitely getting ourselves ready, in fact, steadied up ourselves and have developed that Vision 2047, the infrastructure for the developed country by 2047, the economic growth for which we require to reach there. And of that, very important and very transformative initiatives which have been taken recently, which we generally all know about. They are the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan and the National Logistics Policy. I won't talk much about them today because you are already aware of it generally, but I'll only report about the progress and the achievements we have had made, which are relevant for the civil aviation sector as well. Under this PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan, which tends to bring about all the government organs, be it in the center or the state, who have anything to do with logistics together. And for a purpose of developing just not the infrastructure in the logistics sector, but also the rationalization of processes, digitalization, skilling in the sector, and ultimately looking at integrated development of the sector and for its efficiency to whatever max possible. And of course, a reduction of the logistics cost. So during the last 2 years, the PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan, that framework has been able to evaluate or plan about 170 projects, major projects of at least 1,000 crore or a median size of 1,000 crore size. And they are valuing up to about 13 or 13.5 lakh crores of the projects, which you're going to see very soon in reality. because they are either in the initial stage of implementation or intermediate stage of implementation, and many of them are just commencing the implementation. But all put together, I think we would be matching the growth of the economy in terms of the growth in infrastructure by which is required for as we say, the 2047 Viksit Bharat state, or the developed state of the country. There has been all the states who have come on board, all the ministries, about 48 ministries of different sectors, be it economic and social sectors, who have come on board, and then all the states and the union territories are also on board. And let me further inform you, today logistics is the prominent issue, which is the part of the conversation either at the state level or the central level. And all the states are either having their logistics policy already, or in the process of drafting or structuring their logistics policy. So either they are working on that as per their logistics policy, or they are working on making one such logistics policy. The conversation is on, and it won't be difficult for any of the stakeholders when they are talking about the states. I mean, considering aviation is a concurrent chapter, and a lot of activities lies in the state. So if you talk to the states today, you will find them in sync. It would not be an alien discussion, and they would understand you, and they would like to come forward to help you. And this is being again monitored, the states, the extent of proactiveness which exists in the states today for the logistics sector development, be it aviation or shipping or roadways. That's again being assessed through a mechanism called LEADS. We have a LEADS exercise annually, that is assessment of logistics ease across different states, and this is also promoting a kind of competition among the states, right? And under the logistics policy, there has been great amount of movement. There has been a lot of digital platforms or infrastructure which have been created. ULIP, you must be already knowing about, which is bringing together about 37 systems, digital systems of the government or even the private sector who are dealing in the logistics activities. So in addition to the ULIP, there is a logistics data bank, which is again doing a 100% container tracking all over the country from the point of its entry into the Indian borders or entry at the ports. And similar system, as I understand, is also under development in the civil aviation sector. That is National Air Cargo Community System, probably that was started way back in 2019, if I remember correctly. So if that also comes in, it joins the community of different logistics sector community systems, ULIP, LDB, even there is a national logistics portal for the marine sector, NLP Marine or Sagar Setu. So all these, the sectoral digital platforms are going to be again integrated, and in future we may see logistics e-marketplace as well, which will have aviation, shipping, road, rail, or every other mode of transport or logistics, in fact warehousing or the logistics infrastructure facilities which are there, and the operations which are happening in these sectors, they would be all put together, and then the buyer of these services can have that visibility of the services, can have that competitive pricing, and therefore may there be a case that there is a reduction in the logistics cost which can be attributed to this visibility or increased visibility, but definitely a convenience and that speed which is going to be achieved through these infrastructures in the transactions of the services. So a lot of things are happening in this, and there's a lot of skilling also being taken care of for the sector. And there's a small beginning, of course, has been, or initiation which has been made by the government, but largely it is again dependent on the industry to instill those specialized skills And before doing that, you also need to define those skill sets which are required by the sector and relevant for the sector, just not for the existing or present requirement, but also the projected requirement, right? And we are also been working on a couple of issues which we think are very relevant for the aviation sector. And if I'm to talk two most important issues which are affecting or which are very, very crucial or critical to the aviation sector. One is relates to development of the logistics infrastructure, which we say or call as hub facilities. In India, despite being a continental sized country and huge aviation infrastructure, as we understand, there are more than 70 airports which are having a cargo handling facility. Yet we are not having its optimal utilization. Now, as I understand, about 50% of this capacity which has been already created is being utilized for handling of the cargo, be it the bellies of the airplanes or the infrastructure facilities of the airport. I think this underutilization or suboptimal utilization is attributed to a kind of inadequacy on account of aggregation or disaggregation, which should happen because before coming to the air, air transportation or air cargo hubs or the terminals, there are a couple of multiple modes which are involved, and the packets, if not the cargo, has to undergo change in the shape or the size, right, and which requires aggregation or disaggregation. And since this is not happening to that extent, maybe the experts or the professionals like Mr. Kaul can, of course, make an assessment of it. What is that which is, coming in the way of optimal utilization of air cargo handling capacity which exists at the airports already? Is it the market which is very weak, or is it something else? If it is infrastructure which is required for kind of catalyzing this conversion of the facility or utilization of the capacities, I think that can be understood. What I feel is this lack of such facilities wherein the aggregation, disaggregation can happen, and then the transshipment which is required can happen at these facilities. If this kind of infrastructure is also created, I think there may be not only the utilization of the existing capacity, but also can ensure the utilization of the future capacity which are going to be created anyways when there are more of airports which would be coming into reality or into vogue and operation. So I think that is one suggestion, and I think it also throws up a huge opportunity for the potential investors, just not domestic private investors, but also the foreign investors, including those operators who are operating globally and operating such infrastructure. They can also have an assessment of the market here in India and can have joint ventures with the domestic companies. I think there's a case for joining hands and developing this infrastructure, because aviation and air cargo is a global business more than any other mode of transport. So I think that's one area I think we can be thinking about and doing further assessment of the situation. Second is, I've been talking to Mr. Piyush also on this. That is about encouraging creation of MRO facilities in the country. Madam Vandana had also worked initially in 1920 in this regard, and we had a lot of conversation, long discussions on it, and even the stakeholder consultation involving the foreign companies, the potential MRO operators or service providers in the country. I think there again, this market is huge, as we see. A lot of, more than 747 aircrafts of fleet size of the country, and more are in pipeline for acquisition. If we put together all of them, I think there is a huge need of so-called after-sales services in form of the MRO. And if that is there, we all can be sure, in fact, about that reduction in the outgo of the foreign exchange. Further, if I look selfishly at the logistics itself, it is going to also help in reduction in the logistics cost as well, and which will increase the competitiveness of aviation or the air cargo transportation. I think looking at these areas of concern and the issues, if they are resolved, I think we can be sure of a brighter future. And I'm very optimistic looking at the path we have already taken and the pace at which we are moving. I think we are sure to reach that level of efficiency, the reduction in the cost, logistics cost, and definitely that infrastructure level and the capacity in the infrastructure which will be needed or which are required for attaining that developed state for India, the Viksit Bharat of 2047. Thank you very much once again.